The three principles of experimental design are randomize, control, and replicate. We looked at randomize, so let's move on to control. We're going to start by defining what a treatment group is. So the treatment groups receive the treatment that's being tested. By making the conditions as similar as possible for all treatment groups, we are able to control for other sources of variation besides the factors we are testing. So the biggest thing here is that the only difference between these groups should be whatever that treatment is. Everything else should hold the same or be constant. For each factor, levels are thoughtfully chosen and assigned to different subjects. So if I were testing this ibuprofen for migraines, I might do a 200 milligram tablet, a 400, and an 800. So kind of three bigger groups, a little bit spaced out, rather than doing something like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, right? On and on and on. That gets to be a lot of treatment groups to keep track of, which means you need a lot of participants because each group needs to have a good amount of participants. And the differences might be very small and very nuanced. And so we kind of choose a couple of bigger groups the first time we do the experiment, and then we can refine that or hone in on that when we repeat the experiment if we see that there are values that seem to work better than others. Okay, so that's the treatment group. The other type is the control group. So the control group does not receive the treatment that's being tested. Often what they get instead is a placebo, which is a fake treatment that feels or looks identical to the actual treatment. And we do that so that subjects don't know whether they're getting the placebo or the actual treatment, and it allows us to compare these groups. Okay, and the reason for that is humans are notoriously susceptible to errors in judgment. When we know what treatment was assigned, it's difficult not to let that knowledge influence our assessment of the response, even when we try to be careful. So this is something that I've noticed when I go to the doctor and they're trying different medications, and I tend to be a little bit of a people pleaser. So if they're telling me this medication is supposed to work, you know, they spent all this time trying to help me find this, and they're like, so how's it working? I'm like, well, you know, kind of, sort of, right? Because I feel bad saying no, but in reality, that's what they need. They need that honest information. Like, no, this isn't working. So we either need to change the dosage or try something else, right? So it's really easy for there to be a lot of reasons why we might not answer completely truthfully. And so by using this placebo, people don't know whether they're getting the actual treatment or, you know, a sugar pill or something like that. So it allows us to be able to see better what's going on and whether that medication is actually helping. So since a placebo is essentially no treatment, that's why we give it to the control group. And this way, we can give the control group something so that neither they nor the experimental group know which group they're assigned. So this helps us to determine if the treatment truly causes a difference or whether it's a person's belief that caused the change. So that's another thing that could be going on, is kind of that mind over body or mind over matter effect. And so that could also be driving maybe some of the improvement that people think that they're feeling or may actually be feeling. The subjects treated with placebo sometimes improve. This is really surprising. It's not unusual for 20% or more of subjects given a placebo to report reduction in pain, improved movement, or greater alertness, or even demonstrate improved health or performance. This is what's known as the placebo effect. So if I were writing about the placebo effect in terms of whether caffeine actually helps people to be more alert and awake on the road and at work, the placebo effect would mean that subjects reported they were more alert, even though they were given a fake coffee substitute that had no caffeine in it whatsoever. So that's the placebo effect.